Dave and Luc Mullinder joining us. $100 says Luke's not smiling. Perfect. There he is right there. Oh, now he is.
I don't think.
We can't hear you. Your mic. Let's go. 3, 2. Let's try this again. 3, 2, and 1. The boys.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Hello.
We got you now. All right. When's Riderville open? People are wondering what's the deal. When do the parties get going?
Tomorrow. They do not start today. We are here in a bunker that I think is Mike O'Shea's old office, because I hear he's getting hired in Toronto. Kidding, joking, not real. But the Riderville, everything really opens and get going tomorrow. There's a fan fest that's happening down to the University of Winnipeg that's happening. And again, they're sending students through it today. But if you're there, you can go and run a 40-yard dash, see how far you can go. So, yes, things really get going as far as the fan side.
That's got blown Achilles written all over it. For a number of gentlemen in their 40s, they're going to be trying to hoof that. All right, what was on the agenda today, boys? What can you tell us?
Well, right now, as we speak, the Saskatchewan Roughriders just hit the field for their first practice of the day. So the way that the day unfolded for both teams, the Montreal Alouettes, by virtue of being the home team, got to practice first this morning. So they are on the field in what would be there in Luke, again, air quotes, regular time. And then following that, it was media day. So what they did was they brought 12 members of each team, plus the coaches and general managers, out to meet the media. And again, you were there. You could ask them anything that you wanted to ask. So that lasted for just over 2 hours. And then once that was done, the Saskatchewan Roughriders immediately hopped on their team bus and headed to practice, and that's where they are right now, on the practice field. And again, I don't know, Luke, if I'm a professional athlete that is built on routine, this is driving me nuts.
Yeah, completely. It's an experience where you have to work to. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? It's an experience where you have to work through and include the routine that is the Grey Cup, but it's also the privilege of being in the Grey Cup. And you know what? It's gotten a lot more manageable. I remember when we were going to Grey Cups in 2007, 2009, 2010. Those media days, for instance, they were split up in two. They would have a media breakfast with one team, and then they would have a media lunch with another team. And those were chaotic because, not only were guys trying to get something to eat, they had to stay down there, but only a few guys were getting interviewed, right? So there was always, and we had to occupy our time. As a matter of fact, it's where I first got my media interview experience, with a video camera and a fork with the napkin wrapped around it, going around and asking questions of folks, just because we were bored, right? But we had to stay for like the hour and a half. So they've evolved quite a bit. The fact that there's only 12 guys now from each team, obviously those are the 12 that folks want to hear from the most. So it really only affects those 12 guys. But fortunately, they're also the leaders of the team. So they've got to be able to lock in, right when they get on that shuttle and because you're going to need to have a good practice, right?
Yeah. And the one thing yesterday too, just to note for the conversation I had with Coach Mace yesterday, what the Riders did yesterday was they held an optional workout, like an optional lift for the team. And he said he was a little bit surprised. 58 players took in the optional lift yesterday.
Yeah, because no one's stupid. They know what optional means when the team. It means mandatory. See you there. So of course everybody's going to show up to that.
All right. Yeah, right on. Okay, somebody's got a torn pec muscle because they went hard in the gym week of the Grey Cup, just trying to get extra 50 sets of 50 in or something. Hey, Luke, I want to ask you this. The Rogers Center, I figured when you guys played in the Grey Cup there, you were in the visitors' locker room. The Calgary and the Edmonton ones, what locker rooms were you in?
We were actually in the visitors one in Toronto, and we were in the home ones in Calgary and Edmonton.
So that was back-to-back years.
Yeah, it was back-to-back years. So the Edmonton was obviously that was newer as well when we first got in there. And the benefit of having there's actually a massive benefit to being considered the home team that Montreal is going to enjoy because they're in the Winnipeg locker room. It's not necessarily about the lockers in general. It's about the amenities that come with that locker room. So, for instance, when we were in Calgary, when we were the home team in Edmonton in 2010. we had access to not only the locker room, but also to the facilities around the locker room, which was their cold tubs, which was their hot tubs, which was their treatment facilities. When you're in the visitors' locker room, those locker rooms are just built for teams that are going to come there for a few hours, right? So they don't have the same amenities. So, for instance, if you want a cold tub, teams have to actually go out of their way and create a cold tub situation. You want to get things done. Like, there's a considerable lift in terms of the resources that you have access to out of the visiting team locker room. So we enjoyed the facilities, obviously, as the home teams, but unfortunately, that's where the Riders are going to be. They're going to have to make things work. But again, I felt like, or at least from what I saw in Princess Auto Stadium as part of the broadcast team when we were down there doing post-game interviews, that locker room down there, the visitors' locker room, is a roomy one, and I'm sure that they found a way to get the cold and the hot tubs in and all the treatment stuff in. But again, it's just an extra thing to do, right? And when we're talking about trying to keep teams in their routines, we also talk about not just the players, but the staff, right? The equipment staff. For instance, Gordy Gilroy and the hardest working team in show business, they've got to figure out as soon as they land, what do we need to put in there now that we're the visitors team versus what wouldn't we have had to bring if we were the home team?
Actually, I believe due to the nature of Princess Auto Stadium, the Riders are actually in the Bison's dressing room, which is basically set up similar to the Bombers this year. I believe Van Stone wrote that today, and that's what Derek Taylor confirmed on Biffles last night. So I think the Riders are going to be actually in a better situation than they would be typically if they are, than they would be in the visitors' dressing room. They have all the Bison's amenities.
Yeah, well, I doubt the Bisons have the amenities that a professional football team would have, right? U Sports team, they'll probably have a few things, but again, it's not necessarily what is or isn't in there. It's just about getting the resources that the players are used to. And again, when you're talking about keeping guys in routine, it may sound stupid, right? But when you have access to a cold and hot tub in Saskatchewan that you can fit a number of guys in versus potentially creating one with, where there's enough room for one person and then you've got to figure out rotation. Again, it's just taking guys out of routine. And that's what you got to work on in these situations, is getting as close to the routine you're used to as possible.
You mentioned that routine, though, and adaptability, right? So that's Gordy Gilroy, that's Ty, that's the entire equipment staff. How's this? I'm talking to Trevor Harris today, and I said, so how have you been keeping up your routine? As you know, Trevor is very, very deliberate in every action that he takes, whether it's dietary or physical with his body. And I said, how are you handling this? I've seen a microphone in front of your face more than a football in your hand this week. And he said, well, I made plans. Prior to coming, I knew what amenities our hotel went. So I actually went and couldn't get physically to the stadium today to do film. Just there was no time with his media responsibilities. So he went and he had a workout in the hotel pool today. So can you imagine kids water sliding down beside him and he's here working out and preparing for a Grey Cup championship?
Those kids are supposed to be in school. It's a weekday.
When we first got into to Edmonton, I think, if I can recall, we had our strength and conditioning guy at the time. He set up a workout for us as well, but it was in the hotel. It was in the hotel workout room. So the weights were minimal. We had to create things. We were jumping off suitcases and stuff like that. But again, at least it was a workout.
Zumba. All right, we're going to go to some Zumba, boys, and
totally.
Calisthenics,
totally. All right, guys.
Aerobics.
Got this Pilates workout ready to go here.
Tybo DVD. What?
I thought you were going to say when you rolled into Edmonton, you guys went water sliding. That would have been a great story, but nonetheless. It's there's a lot to it and everything that goes around. Greg rented an Airbnb. He's going Sunday. He might be cold tubbing with some people he doesn't know about at this Airbnb for $97 a night. So that could be a story for next week. All right, boys, we'll let you guys get more situated there. We'll bounce back next hour. Appreciate you hopping on.
Time did the water slide. It's Shea's office
exactly.
back.
Right on. Get those trunks on. Next hit live from the pool. Luke and Dave joining us live from Winnipeg. Out to Winnipeg, joined by the guys that are there, boots on the ground. Dave, Thomas, and Luc Mullinder. I hope you guys ain't going to Riderville dressed like that. Hope you got some evening attire.
What do you need? You need a dime bag. You need an ounce. You need some perks.
Easy.
No. I don't need.
That's not what he was talking about.
No, I don't need any of that. I just actually am looking for Riderville passes. Oh, I can help you out with that. Yeah, never mind. Glad you didn't want drugs. I didn't have any, but yeah.
Dave and Luke just got canceled. Awesome.
No, it's crazy though. Everybody wants to get into Riderville, so I'm glad they're making it more accessible. As much as we joke about it, that's going to be one hot ticket.
That was always going to be the play. I know, and the outrage from people that were like, we can't get passes. And this was before the Riders were guaranteed in the game. So yesterday, I think I mentioned they're going to have to release some more passes or something.
Well, the biggest parties always are Riderville. The Spirit of Edmonton breakfast is a bit of a party as well, if you want to get drunk at early in the morning. And then the Touchdown Atlantic, for some reason, those Maritimers bring the party as well.
I saw those set up today, as a matter of fact, over at the conference center when I was there. And there is the Atlantic Schooners. They've got one of the sites, a Riderville set up. Yeah, very true. And it looks remarkable. And I think you do have to take your hats off a little bit, don't you? Because the Grey Cup committee, they made those a commodity, right? They said, hey, this is all we can allow. You want one, you better get one. And now it's the hottest ticket in town.
Yeah, it's always again when you have a Grey Cup, especially because of the time it falls, you want a centralized spot, right? That's why Saskatchewan, their bid is always going to be strong, because we have the ability to hold it on the real grounds or somewhere where everything can be found in one building, right? RBC centers like that too here in Winnipeg, so it's going to be pretty cool for people to walk around, and you're right, like everything's over there.
As a player, though, are you going to take it in? Because Darian Durant went in 2013, right? He went to Riderville.
Yeah.
Did you go to Riderville? Would you have gone to Riderville? What's the over-under in the number of players that we'll see at Riderville?
Don't lie, Luke.
Usually a few guys go. Yeah, I went.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I went. Shoot, why wouldn't I? I went in. When was it? I think it was in Calgary. I went over there for a moment, right?
Yeah.
But I go all the time as a member of the alumni, as the broadcast team member, and as somebody who supports the organization, right? So it's Riderville is always awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
We'd had Tad Cornegay on a little bit ago, and one question I asked him was, we got this rookie QB for Montreal, and I said, who are the guys when you played that would have tried to get in his head, tried to maybe send a message early, tried anything like that? He went through, who was the first guy? Not Eddie Davis.
Fred Perry.
Fred Perry. And then he said, Luc Mullinder. He said, for sure, Luc Mullinder would have chirped him, would have had something to say, and maybe there would have been a borderline little cheap hit early. I respect that.
No. I would have probably tried to say something, but it would have had to be very short, because I wasn't much of a trash talker, man, because I didn't have that type of cardio. I always wanted to conserve my energy. So whenever we were out there, I just if I started talking trash and starting to get passionate about something else, I wasn't going to be able to actually do the responsibility it came to when the whistle blew. So, but yeah, I think Tad, for the most part, he's lying, because he would have been the guy. We would have been hearing Tad behind us yelling at the quarterback. And man, there was nothing like playing with 2-4, man. He was a beauty. He was one of the better pound for pound players that I've ever played with. But man, he was the reason what made him so good. And I hope he's not listening, and I would never tell him this to his face. But the reason what made him so good is because he wasn't afraid of contact, and he was a smaller guy, but man, he could mix it up with the best of them. And for us, we got so many amazing years out of him, especially in like 2008 and beyond, because he was down there. He'd play any spot, He'd play the strong side linebacker spot. He'd play the defensive back spot. Shoot, you told him to blitz from the middle. He would do that too. He was the jumper one year on the field goal team. And they've got a picture of him literally being ejected by two fat dudes from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, on the protection team. But he's like up in the air. He's like 20 feet up in the air, and they've just thrown. But man, that was Tad, man. He was willing to put it on the line for whatever.
Can I ask a question about Davis Alexander?
Yeah.
So the Rough Riders have not seen Davis Alexander this week. And again, there's a bunch of narratives that we've been talking about, Barney. We talked about it yesterday. We'll continue to talk about it all week long. But of course, as a starting quarterback, Davis Alexander is 13-0 in his career. He has not played the Saskatchewan Roughriders as a starting quarterback. Of course, his coming out party, if you want to say, was last year against the Riders when he came on in relief of Caleb Evans in the second half. But my question and my point in all of this is that the big narrative is that, he could be injured and nicked up. He grabbed his hamstring last time around. Yeah. But, oh my gosh, are the Riders going to prepare for two quarterbacks? Like, we could see McLeod Bethel Thompson. And am I the only one that's sitting there thinking, don't we always prepare for two quarterbacks? Because there's always a possibility.
When you have one of these dynamics, when you have one quarterback that is so dangerous in a number of facets, and you have another quarterback who has very sort of dangerous capabilities himself. One of the messages in the locker room is always, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's out there. They could be prime Peyton Manning out there. It's about what the team does. It's about how we react as a defense. Are you taking care of alignment, assignment, execution? Do you know where to go when the play's being called, and do you know what to do? And are you going to make the play if the ball comes to you, right? Like, it doesn't matter. They could roll out anybody. It's all about us. And that's where I think that you should focus as a team when it comes to this type of I think that we'll see Davis Alexander for probably the whole game. I'd be shocked if we didn't. But again, if you don't, you also know, especially from a strategic standpoint, you know how to handle McLeod Bethel Thompson, right? Like, you can play man behind Cloud Bethel Thompson. He's going to want to go deep, but why don't we just let's throw some pressure at him, right? I remember when we were watching the team in Montreal, we were throwing pressure packs at him, and he was getting smacked all over the field, right? So, again, it's never about which guy we're going to see maybe. It's about, guys, here's what the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to do, and we're going to do this whether it's on the field, whether it's in the parking lot, whether it's in the meeting room, and we're going to do it to Davis Alexander, Quan Alexander, Alexander the Great, Riders by 3.5.
Are you leaving out? You see, he's leaving it off a field goal.
Yeah, I see that.
Tad went field goal, and Greg goes,
Why are you doing that against Montreal? Why are you doing the field goal against Montreal?
That's smoke. Hey, the one thing I did ask him, Luke, and I'll throw it to you too. Those Grey Cup years, and I think the story, Greg being a Patriots fan as well, is they practiced the Malcolm Butler. They practiced that play that possibly they were going to see on the goal line from the Seahawks late in that week in Arizona. When you go back to your Grey Cups, was there something maybe on the last day or late, a wrinkle they threw in to say, hey, we maybe got to be prepared for this, or we are going to do this, something new, or is it just, no, we play what got us here?
Not necessarily in the Grey Cup, but in 2010, I can tell you this. We spent every practice of the season preparing for one play that the Calgary Stampeders may run against us at some point in the year when we saw them. And I'm not lying. We literally ran one play every single day, week of practice. We would put this package in, we would call the play, and then we would, and I remember what it was. It was, we would line up in zero. We'd line up in the zero blitz, and I think that it was a couple of the linemen. I remember myself. We were responsible for running literally 25 yards on a 45-degree angle up into a certain spot, and then turning around. And literally, this play we were developing, we didn't know if Calgary was ever going to run it. But Coach Echeverry, he was so proactive in that this is the one play that might break this rule for us that we would always put in practice. And Calgary never ran it, okay? And then they didn't run it in 2010 in the Western Final either. But we were that prepared for that one situation with a one formation. If we saw a motion, we knew exactly how we were going to handle it. And Coach Etch was always just like, man, if they run this, we need to be prepared. So we ran it literally every practice week.
Wow.
And they never ran it one time. No team ran it, and Calgary definitely didn't run it. But I can tell you this, in 2010, when we were playing the Western Final, we had gone the whole practice week. Okay, we had gone the whole practice week installing our game plan. All right. We walked down there the night before the game. And in our meeting, we walked into the meeting room, right? And there's Coach Echeverry, and I think Eddie Davis with, I can't remember who was with him, but Coach Echeverry's sitting there, and there's a new play drawn up on the board. There's a new play. Not only was this one new play that we were adding, this was going to be the play that we ran primarily. We hadn't practiced it once all week. We hadn't practiced it once. But Coach Echeverry had thought through things. And this guy, and his staff, they used to, I don't even think they rented places in Regina. They just slept in the building, right?
Wow.
Partly because they were cheap, but also because they were committed. So essentially what happened was Coach Etch installed this brand new play. And what the play designed to do in a nutshell was funnel everything down and put Jarrell Freeman, who at that point was one of our best players defensively, into position to make the play for us. And Etch was really good at funneling things to a sure thing. So Etch said, we're going to run this play for the majority of the game. And we did. We ran this one defense, one play. Jarrell Freeman ended up with 16 tackles that game. Right. Yeah. And he also saved us when our idiot punt returner fumbled the ball. We were up. They needed a turnover in the fourth quarter. And our guy, who I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm just grumpy. But to this point, I still remember really wanting to kill him once he did. He fumbled the kick, but Jarrell saved us on that too.
Yeah.
You can go back to 2010, but yeah. And so that's what you're talking about, Barney. And then again, that was to get to the Grey Cup, right? And then when we got to Montreal, and then when we got to the Grey Cup, we obviously went back to the things that we felt we needed to do against Montreal. But that just goes to show you how much prep work some of these coaches put in. We literally ran one defensive play call against one set that we never saw all year, but we just wanted to make sure that if we did see it in a critical moment, in a critical possession, that we knew how to react to it, right? And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Quite frankly, we were kind of glad as defensive linemen that we didn't see it, because it involved a lot of running on our part. It was we're going to go that way back there 30 yards and turn around. Get ready to catch the ball, because if it works, it's coming to you.
Can you sketch that out at some point in the next couple of days when you're having a Pilsner? And I'm dead serious. I want to see it.
The play?
Yeah. Just etch it out for me.
You think I remember it? I don't remember it. I just remember what we did. I remember what I was 112 for that play. Yeah. No, but you know what? I'll find it. You know what I'll do? I'll call a couple of the guys. I know one guy who's probably still got it written down. Well, he was a brown noser.
I got Mike McCullough coming on the show tomorrow. I don't know if he'll remember it. If he was there.
McCullough will tell you. McCullough will tell you. He would remember it because he's got a photographic memory. Mike McCullough, man, what made him so good was just he just knew where everybody was supposed to line up. I felt like Mike McCullough, when I first got to the team, he really showed me how to be a professional, because man, he had such a talent for absorbing what the coaches wanted to do. And when we would get on the field, Mike McCullough, the primary package Mike McCullough played in when we were younger was the Tiger package, where he was the middle linebacker. It was a package in which we would put some heavy emphasis on our defensive ends, but more importantly, we would it was protect against the pass. And man, me being young and dumb, emphasis on the dumb part at that point, sometimes really didn't know where to line up. And it was so nice to have McCullough out there, because not only did I not know where to line up, sometimes nobody else knew. And McCullough we'd get the call in from the sidelines, and McCullough would he knew that we needed the help too, but he would just yell it out. Okay, hey Luke, we're going this way. Hey Fred, we're going, you know what I mean? Yeah. And guys like that help, but he'll definitely remember what I'm talking about.
And to think all this from a guy that still operates a flip phone and doesn't text. Legitimate doesn't text message.
Hold on a second. So just a backstory on that. So McCullough says he doesn't text, and he doesn't, but he reads his texts.
Yes. When I asked him to come on Monday, I said,
Yeah.
I was with somebody and I said, hold on, I just sent a text. This guy's going to call me. And within 3 minutes, ring, and it's Mike.
Yeah. He's like one of these no kings protesters. You know what I mean? Like just like he's got a cell phone. He uses it. He reads it, but insists on not answering by text. You know, like there's something wrong with answering by text, but using your cell phone for
Never put anything in writing. It's that simple.
All right. This segment, definitely the envelope has been pushed in the last 9 minutes that we've been together right from the get-go. So let's see if we're back together in hour 3, fellas.
Oh, is it over already? Oh man, that was a shame.
Okay,
I like that.
but look,
I was enjoying that.
Hey, Colson found something.
There's it. There it is. There it is. Now
if you're watching the stream, that is amazing.
Now listen, fellas. This picture right here. Remember how I always say, if you want to master an ability, make it dependability.
Yeah.
Tad Cornegay was that guy. Like, look at that. He knew those are 2 offensive linemen, and he's a jumper right now. And this picture right now, he knew this was going to happen at some point, and he still put his body on the line and make the sacrifice that he thought he needed to make in order for the play to go well.
How the heck does he get up there?
No, he didn't get up there. Those guys ejected him up there. He was thrown up there.
But still.
By 64 and 52. Yeah, I know, man. But and he's the jumper, right? Like, but again, that picture
unreal.
right there, that captures some of the sacrifice guys are willing to make on behalf of their brothers. And that is kind of where the Riders, that's a good correlation to the Riders of this year. I feel like there's a lot of guys that would do and sacrifice the things that Tad Cornegay was willing to sacrifice physically in order to get this win on Sunday.
So to try to provide the captions for the photo that we can't see on radio, basically it's 2 offensive linemen that you can see have gone ahead and lifted their shoulder pads up, with Tad Cornegay probably 10 feet above them in the air at minimum as he's flying over to try to block a kick.
I believe the Utes call that yeeting. He got yeeted.
Yeah, he got yeeted for sure. But again, I wouldn't tell Tad these things to his face because he's annoying. You know what I mean? Like,
okay. Before we go, there was one question that Leonard sent in. Have you guys heard any truth to the rumor that 45-man roster, the only players are allowed on the sideline for the game, so anybody that's not dressed has to sit in the stands?
Yeah, that's always been a rule, though. That's always been a rule. That's that. Yeah, I remember, in 2007, one of the guys that was hurt was Matt Dominguez. And I remember us trying to figure out if we could get Matt Dominguez at least on the playing roster or on the 45-man roster in order for him to be on the sidelines. I don't think it worked out. I think he had to be in the stands as well. But yeah, there's only so many. Like, this isn't college, right, guys? You can't have 150 guys, on the sideline, right?
But it is the Grey Cup. You could slide a few guys. Come on.
Well, so the reason why this actually matters, boys, the reason why this actually matters isn't the fact that you're able to be on the sideline. If you're on the 45-man roster and your team wins, your name is engraved on the Grey Cup. That's what's important, right? So Matt being a big part of our 2007 team, his name's not on the trophy.
Gotcha.
Because you see what I'm saying? So that's why it's so important to get on, if you can, to get on that roster. That's why they talked about Keyshawn Johnson a couple of days ago, right? Is like, hey, here's a guy, 1,000-yard receiver. Hopefully, if the Riders win, he can get his name on the trophy. Right?
And also should mention, remember a couple of years ago, that rule became much more enforced, where it was a little bit looser, where guys could be on the sideline. But remember the altercation at Mosaic Stadium? It was a receiver on the sideline that got into it with a member of the opposition. The Riders were flagged for it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember which receiver it was.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because they probably sent him home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a veteran receiver.
But you know what?
Colson says Shaq Evans.
No.
No. Well, no, but either way, it's these. If you can get on the 45-man roster, it's cool because you might not hit the field, you might not do what you want to do in the game, but at least your name goes on the trophy. And you know what, guys, it's the unfortunate, but that's why everybody also gets a ring, right? Because there are so many guys that sacrifice so many more things that go unseen. You know what I mean? One of the guys that should always be on the trophy, in my opinion, especially if the Riders win it, is Gordy Gilroy. He's not going to be on the trophy. You know what I mean? But he is the guy he's the hardest working man man in show business, and it's why he's got a ring, and it means so much that guys like him get the opportunity to be seen in those platforms, because everybody who works behind the scenes is such a critical piece of the puzzle when it comes to winning a Grey Cup.
All right, fellas, we're going to regroup in about 40 minutes' time. Joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline again from Winnipeg, Dave Thomas is standing by. Oh, and Luke made his way in straight from the workout facility. Did you catch that, Dave? That sim, what Nelson does there, the sim game, 12-7, low scoring affair.
What, for the game?
Yeah. That was Nelson's simulation, the video game.
Nelson needs to stop letting his simulation smoke weed before they go ahead and do that. There's no way. 12-7. What is this?
Well,
what is this? Field hockey?
Can I provide an update from practice today? For those inquiring minds that want to know, Joe Robustelli was not on the field today practicing. Keyshawn Johnson, however, was back on the field taking part. He didn't take wasn't a full participant in practice today, but he was back out on the field taking reps.
What about a Joe?
There you have it. A Joe, I would assume yes, as I saw him on the aircraft, and when we landed, he
jumped off.
Like he would probably be able to go. Well, he didn't jump off, but he jumped up on the stage to let the folks of the send-off know that he was ready.
Well, you know what? I mean, there was a lot more people on the team charter just because this time around the teams have to bring all the staff, the practice roster guys, and that's why it's such a massive lift, right?
Yeah.
I was just glad that nobody was seated between us.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
We have to have the snack seat in between us.
There was a lot of
TMI,
you got the three. You got
people in the road.
Yeah,
right.
Luke
like
wanted the munchies in between you guys on the in the middle seat.
Totally.
Sounds like.
Totally.
We got. What are we knowing about, or what do you guys think about Montreal and their game plan for the Riders after watching that West final? Slow start again for the Riders. I thought at times Trevor Harris's arm maybe was it affected by the cold? I don't know. Didn't have a lot of juice early. So what are you guys thinking on the other side of the ball? Montreal, if you're talking to Montreal, if you are on the Montreal side, what are they game planning against?
Well, before you break it down, but before you do, Luke, just Trevor Harris did say that his hand and arm was affected by the cold, and he had to make a late game adjustment in the fact that he felt that the ball was slipping out of his hand a little bit. So instead of taking one practice throw, which you'll notice he does before running onto the field, he actually was doing 3, 4, 5 until the hand felt right before he went out there. But also you got to give credit to that BC defense.
Yeah, well, I think that Montreal's defense is a different animal altogether. I think that one of the things that Montreal is going to try to do is create interior pressure, right? The interior pressure is what's going to force Trevor to move around in an uncomfortable nature, right? You might have to bounce it, and when a quarterback tries to bounce it versus being able to step up into the pocket, right? Like defensive ends, if they rush high, a quarterback can step up into the pocket and still make the throw that he's designed and being asked to make from the initial design launch point, right? But when you have interior pressure, you have to move off to that spot, readjust the launch point. It affects everything. It also doesn't give your offensive line a very good tip-off point to where you actually are versus the related play. So I think Montreal is going to try to get a lot of pressure up the middle in order to get Trevor uncomfortable. I think that they're going to throw a ton of different looks at him. So we'll see a bunch of guys on the line of scrimmage. We'll see a bunch of guys dropping back. And on the other side of the ball, obviously, I think that they're going to have to get themselves into manageable second down situations. You don't want to go into 2nd and 7 plus a lot against the Saskatchewan Rough Rider defense because it's a defense that's designed to create turnovers. And so I think that and I also think that if they're in a lot of 2nd and 7 plus situations, I think that it's more dropbacks, meaning that you have potentially more times where Davis Alexander is going to stress that hamstring and have to be running around a lot. If I was the Montreal Alouettes, I would try to impact the line of scrimmage, start with the ground game, but I do a lot of play action passes. Right, not to where that he'd be rolling out a ton, but I do think that you need to occupy the linebackers' eyes on the Saskatchewan defense a little bit more.
How important is it going to be for Montreal on that defensive side to have a guy like Sankey and Lemon, all that veteran presence against a lot of guys who on the Saskatchewan side this is their first game?
I think that's why when you look at a guy like Sankey, when you look at a guy like Lemon, I think that they're obviously here's the other thing too. A lot of that Montreal Alouettes team was there in 2023. Right, like the majority of that team won the game in 2023, and here's where I really think Montreal has a distinct opportunity. Is they were in the 2023 game where they had to come from behind, where they had to make the last drive count, where they needed to be creative from a quarterback standpoint, and they needed to make a big play, and you couldn't just sit back and let them make throws because Cody ran the ball. They had a 2nd and 19, I believe. He ran it for a first down. Then he hit the winning touchdown pass over the middle where there was a lot of space. I think that when you have a bunch of guys that have been through a moment like that, one of the things it does is it calms you in the closing minutes of a football game when the game is close. Right. So, and again, that's not to say that the Saskatchewan Roughriders didn't. They just had to do it last week versus the BC Lions, where you had to turn the ball over twice, right? Get the offense the ball back, and then the offense had to put a drive together with 1 minute left. But again, it was the West Final, right? This is not. This is the Grey Cup, and again, I think that the more experience you have as players, and the more guys you have on the sideline that understand what those feelings are in those moments and how to execute in them, the better off you are.
When is when do the 45 man have to be finalized?
Oh, you have to identify it the day before.
Yeah, so Friday.
But you have up until I believe it's 2 hours before game time to make adjustments to that 40 man, or 45, whether it's a game day decision that you have to make or of the like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You got 45 men for Friday, and then you can move that around.
Friday, Luke, or Saturday?
Sorry, Saturday. Yeah.
Okay. What are you guys curious when that comes out on your ends?
Me, I'm curious as to see which offensive linemen are in our depth. I think Trayvon Tate will obviously get the start. So I think that it'll be interesting to see who's on the depth in the offensive line. It'll be interesting to see who is in the depths of the secondary and also the defensive front. So again, I think that for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, it's not a matter of like worrying about who you're fielding on the opening play. It's a matter of who's rotating in. I think that's where the Saskatchewan Roughriders will make all their decisions, and that's a really good thing when you understand who your first 12 guys are on offense, defense, and special teams, and your depth is the concern. That's not. But again, I think Montreal's also like that too. Yeah,
and just to add to that point, number one, I don't think there's any way that Brett Lothar does not play on Sunday, just to put that one to bed right now. The other interesting choice, and again, these are good decisions, is if Keyshawn Johnson is good to go, how much do you trust that he is good to go?
Yeah.
And bring him in, and then what does that mean? Does that mean Joe Robustelli comes out because you're swapping an American for an American, or are you going to try to manipulate the roster and the ratio in another aspect? But again, I would think the easiest is 1 for 1.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of Jo having those Canadian wide receivers, right, and being able to reconfigure things based on that depth.
What would you have to see, Luke, for Keyshawn? Would you be, obviously you got to push him a bit late in the week or midweek here, right? Because it's a big decision.
I'd want to see the ability to cut, obviously, right? I'm not as concerned about the ability to catch the football, but it's the movement piece that I'm worried about, right? Keyshawn's a guy that, he can make the play over the top. He can beat you on a 50-50 ball, but, when it comes to being Trevor Harris's security blanket, there's a lot of quick slants. There's a lot of crossing routes, shallow. You're going to have to be able to turn if you're Keyshawn Johnson, right?
Would weather be colder, right? How muscles deal with maybe a little bit of a factor?
Yeah, completely. Absolutely. Yeah, it takes a lot longer to warm up. It takes a lot more effort to stay warm, and again, you always got to keep yourself moving. But if I was the team, I'm gonna be honest with you. Not sure what Joe Robustelli's status is going to be going into the game. I think that the Riders are not in a position where they have to force themselves, right? I think that if Keyshawn Johnson thinks he can play, great, let's play him. But I also think that if they're on the fence, they have the guys there that can play in Keyshawn Johnson's spot outside of Joe Robustelli, right? Like you have a guy like a Joe who's been on the bench for the last couple games, right? So the other piece is too in all of this is we have to remember the one guy that's important and is the most important piece of this puzzle and is going and is healthy and is we're not worried about is number 45, AJ Ouellette. Right, all things run through AJ Ouellette in this offense. So if 45 is out there, I think that's probably the biggest piece that the Riders are happy about.
And this, don't take this the wrong way. I'm personally shocked how healthy he looks in November here. The way he runs the ball starting in May.
Yeah, totally. Right. And then again, I think that it's nice to see him make a mistake last game in the West Final, that fumble, obviously. Right. It's just it's something that a veteran running back just takes and puts in the back of his mind. Right. And hey, you know what? If I'm jumping in traffic, I better have two hands over the football. Right. Like it's great that for me, anytime a veteran player has a moment on the field where it goes down as a minus, you just got to learn from it, right? But B, especially if the moment didn't hurt you in particular, it's something that you keep in the back of your mind. So
interesting 2 points on AJ Ouellette, though, right? Number one is success. Isn't that a testament to the offseason he has? We know how much he transformed his body. And number two, isn't it Andrew Harris? Because this was mentioned to me, Luke, and I've been meaning to ask you about this forever. So I was told that I should watch how AJ Ouellette initiates contact this year with the opponent, because his work with Andrew Harris was talked about transforming the way that he does, so it is less impact on his body, and apparently his shoulders aren't going up near as much. They're driving further with his legs, absorbing more of the blow. Is that accurate?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that when you look at the things that Andrew Harris was really good at, one of the things was you couldn't tackle the guy with just one person, right? That's what made him so special. Is it wasn't his ability. He could do everything else that the running back could do. He could make a cut, he could catch the football, and he could make plays when things broke down in front of him. But more importantly, he was a tough guy to bring down. You know what I mean? And I think that when you have a guy in that perspective, from that perspective, watching the film with you, just saying like, hey, keep your pads a little bit lower here, or I felt like you could have dropped your hips a little bit more and drove here, versus just running this dude over. You know what I mean? And the nice part about it is those two had a relationship before they got together here in Riderville, so it's clearly paid off. Because again, I think Barney's right. It's been awesome to see how hard he's been able to run consistently too. Right? This was a guy that I think a lot of folks in Rider Nation were a little bit concerned about coming in. All right, like even you and I, we put a tremendous emphasis this year on figuring out who the options behind AJ Ouellette were this year, because of the fact that we probably anticipated him missing some time. He's been fantastic.
Well, a prime example of that was on that final drive when he caught that pass at around the 8-yard line, dropped his shoulders, and carried, I think it was Lee as a backpack for 5 yards to ensure they got that first down. But you kind of mentioned staying warm and staying moving. How does the extended halftime affect the players? Or is it just, I know players got their routines and all that, but now you got a band out there, you got some extra time for the halftime show. How does that affect the players in the room?
Yeah, that's in the 3 Grey Cups. That's always something that comes up that came up for me. I mean, one of the things is you just gotta keep talking with your teammates about certain things. Stay loose, keep moving around. Right, like you guys will find separate areas in the locker room to just go and do some stretching with some bands, things like that. But stay engaged. Right, stay engaged. Don't just lose yourself in your headphones the whole time. Right, and make it a new situation when you come out. Because again, there are adjustments that you need to make. There's conversations that you need to have. Coaches are a big part of this, right? Coaches need to stay engaged as well. Gives them a little bit extra time to go over some of the ideas that they think might be there versus the ideas that they might want to get rid of. But yeah, I mean, nobody's trying to sneak out and watch the performance. I doubt any of these kids are MGK fans anyway. So I think
Trevor Harris, big MGK fan, I bet.
Yeah, no, but you know what? You just got to find ways to stay focused, right? Find ways to stay focused. I think that in 2007, I remember going and finding this spot that was just it was out of the way, but it was risky because if someone opened the door during a hamstring stretch, I would have gotten clocked. But you got to figure things out.
Do you remember who was the halftime show in 2007?
2007, the halftime show.
No one help him.
I think it was might have been 2007. Was it Black Eyed Peas or Justin Bieber?
Nope. He's
I
one.
don't know who was that. See,
one guy.
Bieber was 100. I know that.
He's one guy, and he's really good with the axe.
I don't know.
But you were doing hamstring stretches. Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, I was
right.
Oh, Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember the 2007 one being a big deal, just because. And I guess that's why it was a big deal.
Yeah,
Because
there
Lenny
you go.
Kravitz. Yeah.
Do you remember who
That's
sang?
pretty cool.
Do you remember who
Again,
sang the
I was locked
anthem?
in, man. I didn't even know.
Do you remember who sang the
No, of course
anthem?
not. You're locked in. No.
I think these guys should have
none of
sang
that
the
matters.
anthem more. Dave, do you remember?
No, you got me.
Good Canadian group. They're not together anymore. Our era, Dave. Our high school. Big album. Our grade 9 year probably.
Rita McNeil and the Men of the Deep.
Bare
No.
Knuckles Ladies?
Yeah.
Oh.
There you
I thought you were
go.
going to say Sharon Lois and Graham. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But those are things that you don't
Who was
notice,
it?
right? Like, you're so locked into the game, you don't care who's singing the national
Bare Naked
anthem,
Ladies.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even remember that.
Bare Naked Ladies.
That's what I said. Oh, no, I said that for the halftime show. Yeah.
They were the anthem. No, it's good. Okay, what do you guys got on? What are you guys doing tonight? Make us all jealous that we're not in Winnipeg.
Oh man, we're going.
I
We got
thought
the
we
media.
had
We got the media. We got the media party today.
That's right after our trip to the library, though. We're going to the
Yeah, yeah,
library
I'm going to the
first.
library. Yeah,
we're going to read some books
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah,
Lots of books.
definitely not drinking
Munchies?
any beer. And
Lots.
Munchies at the library. I got it.
We've got the media thing. So there's the TSN. They throw this media sort of mixer every single Grey Cup, right? And actually, this is the 10th year of it, and it's back in the place where they threw it the first time. But my advice to Dave is that we go eat dinner prior to going to this, because all of the cheap media use that party as dinner, right? Because it's the free food. You know what I mean? So they go for dinner. So we, if we're going, right, we're gonna go, but we'll be full, so we won't need the appetizers. We can actually do what the thing's meant for, is hang out and chat with obviously all the stakeholders from the Canadian Football League.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Justifying that expense report, obviously.
Exactly. Take that. You
Case in
make
point.
every last
Sorry,
cent.
case in point.
I don't know.
Case in point.
Do we have time to tell the story?
Case.
Yeah.
Dave. So we were at St. Louis.
Just don't say which outlet.
Why not? That's the funniest part.
Okay, you do what you do.
All right. So Dave is on my left. We are at All You Can Eat Wings,
Which
at
I could
St.
not
Louis.
keep up with. Okay.
which was awesome.
It was good.
Dave had the garlic prawn, or his second serving was the garlic parm. My second serving was the hot honey. My first serving was the salt and pepper. What was your first
Buffalo
serving?
Ranch.
Buffalo
Yeah.
Ranch. There you
Yeah.
go. So me and Dave, we're getting down. Okay. These two gentlemen pull up to Dave's side on his left now.
Yeah.
Okay. And they start eating. Dave, what did they do though?
So when they went to place their order, they asked if so two media members asked if they could share an all-you-could-eat wings night order, and they had to no. Sorry, sir, it's one.
They
customer.
literally asked if they could share the all-you-can-eat wings deal. So I won't mention the company that did this.
No.
But I'll give you an option.
Oh, God.
Okay.
No, okay. Okay, go ahead.
CBC, BBC, or Sky Sports. Which one do you think it was? who went and asked to share
Yeah.
the all-you-can-eat wings?
Yeah.
That is why me and Dave were eating dinner before this media party. Because
Yeah, it sounds. Hey, remember, you know where you go for? Where did I tell you to go for supper one of these nights?
Yeah, Barney, I'm not going there.
we're not
I'm not going there, Barney. I'm not going there.
You guys are crazy.
for-
Yeah, well, I'm not.
You
getting-
guys-
I'm not gonna get
okay.
stabbed out there, man. Yeah.
Settle down. It's not. I wouldn't send
Man,
you
I
guys
looked
somewhere
that place
sketchy. And you
I
know
looked
what?
that place up.
No, trust me,
Oh,
it's
here,
good.
listen.
I'm going to be there Thursday night
No,
and Friday
Barney.
night next week.
I agree with you. It does look good. It looks like, but I just don't. I don't trust the surroundings.
Is it by my Airbnb?
Yeah.
Probably.
No. You know what,
$98 a night for
Luke?
an
Come on.
Airbnb. Yeah, I would
Give him-
probably,
give him a tug
It might be
and-
below your Airbnb.
Go for a nice meal. I was going to ask him for the hint on the sharing of the wings. Before you guys went to the hint, I would have been way off. I was going to say, was one of their flies down? But
No,
No.
Okay.
You have to have zero shame to go and ask to split the all-you-can-eat wings platter deal.
Clueless. You got to be
you know?
absolutely clueless with how society works.
You have to have no pride. You have no pride and no shame. Two of
And
those
that's for
things.
Did they ask for it to go
remember-
container?
Yeah.
What?
Did they ask to go
Oh, my
container?
Well, me and Dave. So listen to this, guys. So listen to this. By the way, etiquette. Me and Dave, we're leaders in this whole restaurant, right?
Yeah.
We're the leaders here because me and Dave get to the point where we've had a lot of wings, but we also know that we probably can't finish another order, right?
Yep.
So what do? We neglect to order the other
Tapped
wings,
out.
but yeah, so we tapped out in order to make sure that there was enough food for everybody else there because it was a busy place.
Tapped out, sent them our bill. It was a good night.
Yep.
I expect that we pay for that anyway, Dave. In a roundabout way, the state-run media. Were you guys bellied up to the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you did the Sasky thing and said, "Can we get 3 in a sack to go?"
No.
No, we left that to the guys that wanted to split the 24.99 deal. We
Yeah,
left that
I
to them.
thought
They were the
sometimes-
ones that they probably had Tupperware containers under their coats.
You guys thought you guys would need some road pops. True Sasky, hop in the Uber with 6, maybe 6 in a sack. I don't know. Whatever. All right, boys, we'll catch up tomorrow. You guys have a good night. It's been fun.